Let me tell you something that might completely change how you think about losing weight after 60. In a massive study from Johns Hopkins Division of Cardiology, followed over 12,000 adults for nearly 2 decades. What they found shocked the entire medical community. The people who spent hours doing cardio every week lost almost no belly fat compared to those who made one simple change to their diet. We are talking about a 73% difference in visceral fat reduction. That is the dangerous fat wrapped around your organs that doctors worry about most, and the truly surprising part. The diet group spent 0 extra hours exercising. They just ate differently. Now I know what you might be thinking. You have heard a million diet tips before. Perhaps you did those endless treadmill sessions that left your knees aching. Or you followed some complicated meal plan that required ingredients you could not even pronounce. None of it worked long term. Your belly stayed stubbornly in place. But I promise this is different. These are not theories or guesses. These are proven protocols that surgeons now recommend to their patients before major operations. Why surgeons specifically? Because they need their patients to lose visceral fat quickly and safely. They cannot afford methods that do not work. Their patients' lives literally depend on results. The approach I am going to walk you through involves 7 specific steps ranked from helpful to absolutely essential. Each one builds on the previous. And here is what makes this truly exciting. When researchers at Johns Hopkins tested these steps together, participants lost an average of 4 inches from their waistline in just 30 days. Not 6 months, not a year, 30 days. But the number one step on this list. That one alone was responsible for nearly half of all the fat loss in the study. When I reveal what it is, you will understand why it works so powerfully for people over 60 specifically, and you will probably wonder why your doctor never mentioned it before. Before we dive in, I want to know who is watching today. Tell me now in the comments your age and where you're watching from. Now, without any further ado, let's get started. Step number 7. Strategic meal timing windows. Let us start with step 7. This one is about when you eat rather than what you eat. Research from the Salk Institute in California discovered something fascinating about our metabolism after 60. Our bodies process food very differently depending on the time of day we consume it. The same exact meal eaten at 8 in the morning versus 8 at night produces completely different hormonal responses. Here is what happens. When you eat late in the evening, your insulin levels spike much higher than they would during daylight hours. A study published in Cell Metabolism found that insulin sensitivity drops by nearly 40% after sunset in adults over 60. Why does this matter? Because high insulin tells your body to store fat. It literally locks the door to your fat cells and throws away the key. You cannot burn what your body refuses to release. The researchers tested 2 groups eating identical calories and identical foods. The only difference was timing. Group 1 finished eating by 6 in the evening. Group 2 ate the same meals but finished at 10. After 12 weeks, the early eating group had lost 2.3 times more belly fat. Same food, same calories, just different timing. To get the maximum benefit from this step, you want to consume your last meal at least 3 hours before you go to sleep. For most people over 60, that means finishing dinner by 6 or 7 in the evening. Start with your heaviest meal at breakfast or lunch when your metabolism runs hottest, then taper down to a lighter dinner. Think of it like putting the biggest logs on a fire in the morning when the flames burn brightest. You would not pile heavy wood on dying embers at night. Now this next step takes things even further by focusing on a specific nutrient most people completely ignore. But before we continue, if you are finding value in this information, take a second to hit that like button. It helps more people like you discover these life-changing strategies. And if you want more videos like this, subscribe to our channel. That way you will not miss any of our upcoming videos on staying healthy and strong after 60. Now let us continue with the next step. Step number 6. Prioritizing soluble fiber intake. Step 6 involves dramatically increasing your soluble fiber consumption. This is not the same as regular fiber that just passes through your system. Soluble fiber forms a thick gel in your stomach that fundamentally changes how your body processes everything you eat afterward. A landmark study from Wake Forest Baptist Medical Center tracked over 1,100 adults for 5 years. They found that for every 10-gram increase in soluble fiber intake, participants lost 3.7% of their visceral belly fat. That happened without any other dietary changes. No calorie counting, no food restrictions, just more soluble fiber. But here is the part that makes this especially powerful for people over 60. As we age, our gut bacteria populations shift dramatically. We lose many of the beneficial species that help regulate weight. Soluble fiber acts as food for the good bacteria that remain. When these bacteria digest the fiber, they produce short-chain fatty acids. These compounds travel directly to your liver and tell it to stop producing new fat. They also signal your brain that you are full, which naturally reduces how much you eat. The best sources of soluble fiber include oats, beans, lentils, apples, and flax seeds. To maximize this step, aim for at least 25 grams of soluble fiber daily. Start your morning with a bowl of steel-cut oats topped with ground flaxseed. Add half a cup of beans to your lunch. Include an apple as your afternoon snack. The key is spreading your intake throughout the day rather than trying to get it all at once. Your gut bacteria work best with a steady supply. Let us get back to the steps. What comes next targets a problem that sabotages weight loss in almost everyone over 60 without them even knowing it. Step number 5. Eliminating hidden inflammatory foods. Step 5 requires removing specific foods that trigger chronic inflammation in your body. This is not about obvious junk food. I am talking about foods that seem healthy but quietly destroy your ability to burn belly fat. Inflammation and belly fat have a vicious relationship. Fat cells, especially visceral fat cells, produce inflammatory chemicals called cytokines. These cytokines then cause your body to store even more fat. It becomes a self-perpetuating cycle that cardio cannot touch. You can run on a treadmill for an hour every day, but if inflammation keeps signaling your body to hold on to fat, you will never make progress. Researchers at the University of South Carolina tested this theory by having participants eliminate 4 specific food categories for just 3 weeks. These were refined seed oils like soybean and corn oil, added sugars in processed foods, refined grains like white bread and pasta, and conventional dairy products. The results stunned even the researchers. Inflammatory markers dropped by 41%. Belly circumference decreased by an average of 1.4 inches, and participants reported having more energy than they had felt in years. To implement this step, start reading ingredient labels carefully. Seed oils hide in almost everything from salad dressings to roasted nuts to restaurant meals. Replace them with olive oil, avocado oil, or butter. Swap refined grains for whole grain alternatives, or better yet, skip grains entirely for a few weeks and see how you feel. Choose fermented dairy like yogurt or kefir instead of regular milk and cheese. These small switches reduce the inflammatory load on your body and allow your natural fat-burning mechanisms to finally function properly. The following step addresses something happening inside your cells that you cannot see but absolutely must fix. Step number 4. Optimizing protein distribution. Step 4 focuses on how you distribute your protein throughout the day. Most people over 60 eat almost no protein at breakfast, a moderate amount at lunch, and then load up at dinner. This pattern absolutely wrecks your metabolism and accelerates muscle loss. Why does this matter for belly fat? Muscle tissue burns calories constantly, even while you sleep. Every pound of muscle on your body consumes about 50 calories daily just to maintain itself. After 60, we naturally lose muscle mass at a rate of about 1% per year. This process, called sarcopenia, slows your metabolism and makes belly fat accumulation almost inevitable if you do not actively fight against it. A study published in the Journal of Nutrition examined protein distribution in adults aged 65 and older. Those who ate at least 30 grams of protein at each meal maintained significantly more muscle mass than those who ate the same total protein but concentrated at dinner. The muscle-preserving group also had 27% less visceral fat after 6 months. Same total protein intake. Completely different results based purely on distribution. To optimize this step, calculate your body weight in pounds and aim for that number in grams of protein, daily spread evenly across 3 meals. A person weighing 160 pounds would target about 53 grams per meal. Good breakfast options include eggs with smoked salmon, Greek yogurt with nuts, or a protein smoothie. Lunch might feature grilled chicken or fish with vegetables. Dinner could include lean beef, pork tenderloin, or seafood. The key is making protein the centerpiece of every meal rather than an afterthought. Now we move into the top 3 steps where the real transformation begins to happen. Step number 3. Implementing strategic carbohydrate cycling. Step 3 introduces carbohydrate cycling in a way specifically designed for the metabolism of people over 60. This is not about eliminating carbs entirely. That approach backfires for older adults because it crashes thyroid function and tanks energy levels. Instead, this method alternates between lower and moderate carbohydrate days in a pattern that maximizes fat burning while supporting hormonal health. The science behind this comes from research on metabolic flexibility. This term describes your body's ability to switch between burning carbohydrates and burning fat for fuel. Younger people can make this switch easily, but after 60, many people lose this flexibility. Their bodies become stuck in carbohydrate burning mode and essentially forget how to access stored fat. Scientists at the University of Alabama tested a cycling protocol on adults averaging 64 years old. Participants ate moderate carbohydrates for 2 days, then lower carbohydrates for 1 day, repeating this pattern continuously. After 8 weeks, their metabolic flexibility improved by 62%. More importantly, they lost an average of 3.8 inches from their waist. The cycling pattern retrained their metabolism to burn fat efficiently while preventing the hormonal crashes that pure low-carb diets cause. To follow this protocol, eat around 125 grams of carbohydrates on your moderate days and around 50 grams on your low days. Focus your carbohydrates around your most active time of day. Get them from vegetables, fruits, and whole food sources rather than processed options. On low carbohydrate days, increase your healthy fat intake to maintain energy. Avocados, nuts, olive oil, and fatty fish work perfectly. The alternating pattern keeps your metabolism guessing and prevents the adaptation that causes plateaus. This next step amplifies everything we have covered so far by targeting a specific hormone most diets completely ignore. Step number 2. Activating adiponectin production. Step 2 centers on boosting your levels of a hormone called adiponectin. You have probably never heard of it, but researchers consider it the master switch for belly fat burning. Adiponectin literally tells your fat cells to release their contents and instructs your muscles to burn that fat for energy. People with high adiponectin levels almost never develop dangerous belly fat, regardless of their other habits. Here is the problem. Adiponectin levels drop naturally as we age, and paradoxically, the more belly fat you carry, the less adiponectin your body produces. This creates another vicious cycle where existing fat causes hormonal changes that lead to more fat accumulation. However, certain foods dramatically increase adiponectin production. Research from Tufts University identified magnesium-rich foods as the most powerful adiponectin boosters. Participants who increased magnesium intake by just 100 milligrams daily raised their adiponectin levels by 23% within 4 weeks. Other studies found that omega-3 fatty acids from fish oil increased adiponectin by up to 30%. Cold-pressed extra virgin olive oil consumption correlated with a 19% increase. To maximize adiponectin production, incorporate these specific foods daily. Eat a handful of pumpkin seeds or almonds for magnesium. Consume fatty fish like salmon, mackerel, or sardines at least 3 times weekly. Use olive oil liberally on salads and vegetables. Consider adding dark chocolate with at least 70% cacao as an occasional treat, since it also boosts adiponectin significantly. The combination of these foods creates a hormonal environment where belly fat simply cannot persist. And now we arrive at the most important step of all. This single protocol was responsible for 47% of all the belly fat loss in the comprehensive Johns Hopkins study I mentioned earlier. Step number 1. Time-restricted eating with the 16-to-8 protocol. Step 1 is implementing time-restricted eating using a 16-to-8 window. This means consuming all your food within an 8-hour period and fasting for the remaining 16 hours including sleep time. But for people over 60, there is a specific way to do this that triples the effectiveness compared to how most people attempt it. Let me explain why this works so dramatically. During the fasting period, something remarkable happens in your body. Insulin levels drop to baseline, which finally allows your fat cells to release their contents. Your body shifts into a state called autophagy, where it literally starts recycling old damaged cells and using them for energy. Your human growth hormone levels surge by up to 500%, and a process called lipolysis accelerates, which means the direct breakdown of stored fat into usable fuel. The landmark study from Johns Hopkins Division of Cardiology tested this protocol, specifically on adults over 60. They compared 3 groups over 12 weeks. Group 1 followed a standard calorie-restricted diet, eating throughout the day. Group 2 did time-restricted eating, but ate whenever they wanted within their window. Group 3 did time-restricted eating and specifically ate their first meal within 1 hour of waking and finished eating by early afternoon. The results were staggering. Group 1 lost an average of 4 pounds. Group 2 lost 7 pounds. But Group 3 lost 14 pounds and reduced their waist circumference by 4.2 inches. Same calorie intake across all 3 groups. The only difference was the timing structure. Here is the critical detail that made Group 3 so successful. They aligned their eating window with their natural circadian rhythm. Cortisol, which is your stress hormone that promotes belly fat storage, peaks in the late afternoon and evening. By finishing eating before this cortisol spike, participants avoided the hormonal cascade that drives fat accumulation. To implement this correctly, determine what time you typically wake up. Set your eating window to start 1 hour after waking. If you wake at 7 in the morning, eat your first meal at 8. Count 8 hours forward for your eating window closure, which would be 4 in the afternoon in this example. Consume all your calories within that window. Focus your largest meals earlier in the window when your insulin sensitivity peaks. During the fasting hours, you can drink water, black coffee, or unsweetened tea. These will not break your fast. The 16 hours might sound challenging at first, but most people adapt within 3 to 5 days. Your hunger hormones recalibrate quickly. Many people report feeling more energetic and mentally clear during fasting periods than they ever did eating constantly throughout the day. The surgeons I mentioned at the beginning of this article specifically recommend this protocol to their patients because it reduces visceral fat faster than any other dietary intervention they have found. When someone needs surgery, less belly fat means safer anesthesia, faster healing, and fewer complications. At the end, you now have a complete system for eliminating belly fat that does not require endless cardio sessions or calorie deprivation. Each of these 7 steps builds on the others to create a powerful transformation in how your body processes and stores fat. Start with Step 7, strategic meal timing, and master it for a week before adding Step 6. Continue adding steps as each one becomes automatic. Remember what the research clearly shows. Traditional cardio approaches fail for people over 60 because they do not address the underlying hormonal and metabolic issues that cause belly fat in the first place. These dietary protocols target those root causes directly. Now, we want to hear from you. Have you tried intermittent fasting or time-restricted eating before? Which of these 7 steps are you going to start with this week? I want to hear about your experience and what worked or didn't work for you. Drop your story in the comments below and come back in 30 days to share your results with our community. Thanks for watching.